In the name of God. The Subterranean Symphony.
Lucian, a disgraced conductor, sought to exculpate himself from accusations of betrayal. Trapped in a nuclear bunker, he found solace in composing music from Geiger counter clicks and ventilator rhythms. His fellow survivors were divided, some longed for melody, while others demanded the raw chaos of their new reality. The conductor believed music could bridge the rift, offering a way to transcend their suffering. To prove his point, he orchestrated a haunting harmony that wove together both order and discord. The resonance of the bunker amplified their voices, creating a powerful and eerie symphony. In that moment, he was absolved, his past sins drowned in the echoes of survival. But peace was fleeting, as a faction attempted to exact control over the dwindling resources. Armed with makeshift weapons, they demanded food and power, refusing to contribute to the community's survival. Lucian watched as discord grew, threatening the fragile unity he had built through music. The aggressors saw art as a luxury, unworthy of their meager supplies. Yet, the choir stood firm, refusing to yield to coercion. The tension reached a boiling point, teetering on the edge of violence. To de-escalate, Lucian proposed a challenge, a duel not of weapons, but of sound. Before the battle of sounds, Lucian took a moment to expatiate on his philosophy of music as survival. He explained how the bunker's acoustics transformed their voices into something greater than the sum of its parts. Every note they sang was a testament to resilience, an affirmation of existence. He wove history into his words, speaking of how civilizations used rhythm to unite during crises. His speech was met with skepticism, but the sheer passion in his voice commanded attention. Even the most hardened skeptics leaned in, drawn to the depth of his argument. For a brief moment, the only sound was the hum of the ventilators, carrying his words like a forgotten hymn. Despite Lucian's appeal, tensions remained high, and he felt compelled to expiate for the past mistakes that had led to this moment. He offered his own rations to the dissenters, hoping a gesture of goodwill would heal old wounds. His act of sacrifice, however, only fueled their anger, as they saw it as condescension. Hunger made men irrational, twisting kindness into an insult. The choir members, recognizing the stakes, followed suit, offering their meager portions as well. The aggressors hesitated, caught off guard by such selflessness. It was a moment of reckoning. Would they accept this peace offering or succumb to their baser instincts? One of the dissenters, an expatriate musician from a distant land, stepped forward. He had been banished from his homeland for defying the ruling regime, and bitterness had long poisoned his heart. Yet, Lucian's music stirred something within him, a distant memory of the symphonies he once conducted. He spoke hesitantly, his voice hoarse from years of silence. "Perhaps we have been wrong," he admitted, glancing at his comrades. The tension softened, and for the first time in years, he felt the weight of exile lift. A new harmony, fragile yet hopeful, began to take shape in the bunker's depths. Yet, peace was fragile, and the harmony was soon disrupted when a sickness spread through the bunker, exacerbating their already dire situation. Food supplies were low, and the lack of sunlight made malnutrition inevitable. The illness turned friends into liabilities, forcing survivors to make harsh decisions about who would receive care. Desperation grew, and some accused Lucian of distracting them with music instead of focusing on survival. He refused to abandon hope, believing that despair would destroy them faster than disease. With renewed determination, he used melodies to soothe the afflicted, giving them a sense of comfort. Though the sickness lingered, the music gave them strength to endure another day. As the days passed, Lucian pondered their existential crisis. Was survival enough without meaning? The bunker kept them alive, but the absence of the sky, the wind, and the warmth of the sun weighed on their spirits. He realized that their struggle was not just for food and air but for identity and purpose. Music became more than just sound, it was proof of their humanity in a world that had tried to erase them. He composed a new symphony, weaving together the voices of the weak and strong alike. The choir sang of loss, longing, and the small joys that still remained. In that moment, they were more than just survivors, they were alive. However, not everyone welcomed Lucian's vision, and an execrable act shattered their fragile unity. One night, a group of dissenters sabotaged the instruments, breaking strings and smashing drums. They saw music as a distraction from the harsh realities of their situation and wanted to force the community to focus solely on survival. The destruction left the choir in despair, their hope crushed along with their instruments. Lucien refused to retaliate, believing that vengeance would only deepen their wounds. Instead, he challenged them to listen, truly listen, to the silence they had created. Without music, the bunker felt colder, emptier, and more lifeless than ever before. Before the damage could divide them further, an unexpected exigency forced them to work together. The bunker's filtration system failed, and without clean air, they would suffocate within hours. The former dissenters who had opposed Lucien's leadership now had to cooperate with the choir to repair it. Despite their grievances, everyone understood that survival outweighed their disputes. The group worked tirelessly, improvising solutions with scrap metal and salvaged components. As they labored, someone began to hum a familiar tune, and soon, others joined in. The bunker, once filled with hostility, now pulsed with determination and unity. As the bunker's air system sputtered back to life, Lucien knew they still had one final task: to exorcise the remnants of fear and hatred that had lingered among them. He called for a final concert, this time not to prove a point but to heal. The survivors gathered, their voices raw but filled with newfound conviction. The music swelled, reverberating through the metal walls, transforming sorrow into strength. They were no longer a fractured group of survivors but a single, united choir. With each note, the ghosts of their past, fear, anger, and despair faded into the echoes. The bunker had not just preserved life, it had restored their humanity. With their unity restored, Lucien took a final step to exhort his people to look beyond the bunker walls. Though the surface remained dangerous, he believed they had survived long enough to reclaim the world above. His words ignited a spark of hope, turning fear into courage. One by one, the survivors prepared for the journey, gathering what little they had. As they ascended the rusted ladder toward the unknown, they carried with them not just supplies but a song. Their voices rose together, carrying the promise that as long as they had music, they would never truly be lost. The world outside was uncertain, but their harmony would guide them forward. In a world buried beneath despair, music became the thread that wove together fractured souls. Lucien, once disgraced, emerged as the leader of a movement that proved art could endure even in the darkest places. Though the surface remained unknown, the survivors carried with them a newfound resilience. Their voices, once silenced by fear, now rang out with defiance and hope. And so, beneath the ruins of a broken world, a symphony was born, not of instruments, but of human will.
Like and subscribe if you would like.